Dear everyone, welcome to our radio series, Finding Peace in Turmoil. This program is brought to you by the joint efforts of Meditation Master Minh Niem and the Meditation Psychotherapy communities, Mindful Living Land in several places. This radio series is streamed every week on YouTube and podcast on the only official channel, Minh Niem. In moments of upheaval, human kindness and solidarity are even more evident. In Vietnam, we have also seen heart-touching acts of altruism during the epidemic period, such as some meal shares placed in front of houses with a sign which says, "If you are in need, please take one, and if you are fine, spare it for others." We also have the model of the charitable ATMs distributing rice to those in shortage, which has been widely implemented throughout many provinces. In the battle against the pandemic, so many people have quietly sacrificed. There are medical workers who are fighting on the front line, risking their lives all the time. There are teams of volunteers who are serving thousands of people in isolation centers. They must work continuously for many hours. Sometimes they have to take a quick nap in the corridor or ride on the stairs. And there are many other unsung sacrifices that we don't hear about or cannot be named. This radio episode number 7, titled Only Love Remains, serves as deep gratitude to people who are making quiet sacrifices for the community and the society, and we hope to partly acknowledge some of the arduous efforts of the frontline workers. Up next, let us invite you to the Dharma Talk by Master Minh Niem, titled Only Love Remains.
Dear listeners, may you be well and peaceful. About 10 years ago, I wrote a small poem and published it in my book titled Understanding the Heart. The following are the 4 verses from the poem. All things will fade, only love remains. What we give today will follow us always. I wrote this poem after a long period of facing many ups and downs. I have walked the path of many turbulences, pain, and suffering. I tasted success, failures, and shame. After all, I finally realized the most valuable things in life are brotherhood and love among humanity. When we are still able to see each other, sit together and speak of our worries, our painful moments, and share with trust our deepest frustrations, that is happiness. Emotional connection is a natural desire of any human being. That means that we don't just focus on our own interests, but we also have a strong desire to share our happiness with others, our loved ones, and those around us. I still chose to continue practice, using love as a measurement, as a standard, and as a motivation in everything I do. My mission includes 2 purposes. 1, to awaken the true inner qualities in each individual, and show them the way to find happiness within themselves and love for others. My second responsibility is to help soothe the pain and suffering, heal psychological wounds for everyone. My methods can be expressed through many different formats. Sometimes I am strict, firm, or appeared harsh in my disciplines. I can give straightforward advice to my students or constructive, honest criticisms to my patients. Everything that I do comes from a place of love. I wish for that person to become better, to awaken, to be able to live peacefully and happily. I had a chance to live in deep forest alone. I meditated and connected deeply with nature. I experienced true happiness within myself. And now I can fulfill my dreams, carry out my mission. I want to devote my life to helping others, to serve the community. This happiness is truly more satisfying than any form of happiness I ever felt. The enlightened once found the true purpose of living, that is to dedicate and share. Each day, each moment, we receive endless resources from the universe. Mother Nature gives us air, sunlight, water, food, etc. Not only that, we are also a codependent variable to the community, the economy, politics, culture, morality, religion. We do not exist independently as an individual, but we have to connect and establish the interdependency among many other things. Therefore, we should be respectful of our surroundings. We should find ways to help, to contribute and share our qualities with others, like a duty of a citizen who pays taxes, because we are also citizens of the universe, not just a country. We must pay taxes to the universe with our services. We are usually not aware of how indebted we are to the universe. No one reminds us of that. Parents raise their children to go to college, have a good career, make a good money, buy a beautiful home, live a prosperous life. Rarely there are parents who teach their children to share the wealth with society. Some parents even get upset when their children do community service instead of helping their own parents, their brothers and sisters, or their relatives. The children without awareness and strong determination can easily be swayed by their parents. If they are to follow the path laid out by their parents, then who will carry out the responsibilities of protecting and preserving our planet? Then society will have very few of those who are willing to dedicate, devote, and sacrifice for the benefits of others. They will see those duties as a strange concept and unnecessary. However, those who experience challenges, difficulties, success, and failures, impermanence, gain their wisdom. They understand that there are many things that they are beyond their control. It is decided by the universe. It doesn't matter how intelligent or talented you are. But if you only think about your own benefits, then the universe will find ways to retrieve it through varieties of means, either through our wealth, health, or relationships. The universe will restore balance. Therefore, in order to remain in this equilibrium, we must share and help those around us, like it's our duties. Well, to say that it is our duties sounds like a requirement, but rather it is a common sense. We gain many benefits from natural resources that we didn't create, then it should be our responsibility to replenish those resources. Therefore, helping others is not something noble. But because there are so few people do it, those who dedicated their lives to serve others become someone so valuable in this life. Throughout this pandemic, we heard of the sacrifice made by heroes such as the white-collar and blue-collar workers. They are the frontline fighters who face the highest risk of getting infected. We are not in their position to understand what it's like to face the disease head-on. They are fearful every time they come into contact with patients. They know that their lives are no longer in their hands. Of course, there are doctors and nurses who want to quit their jobs, but those numbers are very few. Most frontline workers know that it is their duties to save lives. They open their hearts to accept the mission given to them. When they took the Hippocratic Oath, they were given the ethical standards that they must abide to. When they chose the path of medicines, their true character were already of that to serve humankind. The knowledge, the skills were given to them to save lives, then they must do so with care and humbleness. They must see a patient's life, their recovery, their safety as the utmost priority. Physicians who has been in practice for many years, those characteristics became an inseparable part of their being. Every time they see a patient's life in danger, they do not hesitate for even 1 second and came to rescue despite their own exposure. I know that during this pandemic, there are many medical students who yet to graduate would volunteer to help. Many retired physicians return to workforce despite their high risk of getting infected. There are physicians who work over 10 hours per day for many consecutive days. Hospitals don't let doctors go home due to shortages. We have seen physicians who had to isolate themselves from their own family. The children were brought to hospitals so they can see their moms and dads from afar. We also heard of physicians who quickly returned home, stood outside, took a quick look at their family, and hurried back to the hospital. Currently, number of cases exceed 10 million worldwide. Hospitals will soon collapse. Doctors can no longer hold their ground. Many physicians continue to lose their lives. It is a natural survival instinct for them to want to give up to protect themselves. But because of the pledge that they took, they must stay. If they surrender now, then who will help those patients? How will this pandemic ever be under control? The frontline workers have their own psychological issues to deal with. They do not want to be called heroes, although it warms their hearts. They would rather not be. Usually, we see heroes as soldiers who go into combat. They chose to fight knowing they could lose their lives. But that is the decision that they made. However, healthcare workers did not sign up for this. They never imagined facing this pandemic. No one thought that they could lose their lives by choosing medical doctors as their careers. The circumstances forced them to become heroes. They did not have a joy. They are not proud to be called heroes. Don't turn them into heroes. They give the best of their devotion. They don't give up, but they also need our help and support. They need us to join hands with them. If we respect and love them, then we should do something to save their burden, right? Is it right for us to lay at home on our couch drinking, eating, singing, enjoying our leisure time, and call them heroes so they can make all the sacrifice for us? What is our sacrifice? There are many ways we can contribute to stop the spread of this disease. If we cannot volunteer to come to the hospital to help the healthcare team, then at least stay home when there's a stay-home order. We increase the risk of spreading the disease every time we go outside. We will not die if we isolate for a few weeks at home. If we cannot tolerate home isolation because of boredom and start resuming our normal activities, then we are creating a heavier burden for hospitals, for healthcare workers, and then we call them heroes. Does that even make sense? I notice in most civilized countries, people have very little awareness about infecting others. They go to the beach if it's hot, not caring that they could increase the risk of infection for the community. When asked if they love doctors, then they replied, yes. Some have children or family members who are doctors, nurses. They cry when they heard news of a doctor dying because of the virus. Or some doctors committed suicide, but they cannot refrain themselves from going outside. Then what is the purpose of calling doctors heroes? We cannot make specific plans how to help. For example, we can reserve the N95 masks for healthcare workers. We can buy them or ask others to join hands to donate masks to frontline workers. We can also create programs to help care for the children of those healthcare workers. Have we ever thought about that? This morning, when I heard a news of the physicians who committed suicide, I thought about creating another program to support specifically for the frontline workers, besides my current weekly radio series. It would be even better if I can do a program in English for those who speak English. Those who sacrificed, whether it was forced or volunteered, they still experience loss. They deserve our respect, our appreciation. They deserve to be praised as honorable citizens of their countries and the universe. This planet will repay them for their services, either for them or their children later. If a country asks that many honorable citizens, then that country will prosper economically or become a peaceful, happy living land. During my 3-year journey of backpacking, I stopped by a small village named Petrolia, located near Northern California, borderline Oregon. At that time, a tsunami brought many devastations to Japan. The people of Petrolia village, with about 300 households, started to collect money to donate to Japan, even though the amount of money was not much, but in it contained all their love from a village very far from Japan. In 2011, after the tsunami, the people of Petrolia for 7 days did not go shopping. no parties, no dancing, no singing to show their condolences to the people of Japan. Even the people of Japan had no knowledge about a small village far away. It demonstrated the love among humankind. This is true human love and deserves utmost respect. Everything we felt, fame, power, money, admiration, we eventually all fade with time. It only lasts for a period at the longest one's lifetime, right? We will all leave this world. What we can take to the next life or leave behind for our children is our values, our services, and our sacrifice, which is our love for humankind. All things will fade. Only love remains. What we give today will follow us always. I continue to learn my lessons of love so that my love doesn't carry any charge of self-gain. True love is an act of service without any conditions but simply for the well-being of others. In order to do that, we must provide the right food of our ego. If our ego is hungry for acknowledgement, respect, it will chase after us to seek what it needs and interfere with our love. Love loses its purity. Our children, the future generation, will no longer believe or trust in love. They will not learn of unconditional love, but rather of conditional love, which is an exchange of benefits. If you give me this, then I will give you that. This pandemic gives us an opportunity to look back at many things. It gives us a chance to look at our attitude, our contributions to our community, society, and our country. Do we only worry about ourselves, protect our loved ones? Do we only care about how our world will be affected as the economy becomes shaky during and after the pandemic? We care less about who lives and who dies. If we currently have the above attitude, then it is unlikely the universe will take care, protect us, or provide us with favorable conditions in the future. We need to look back. Have we fulfilled our sacred responsibilities that the universe bestowed upon us? The duty to give our love and share our wealth with others. If we have not done so, then start to practice, especially during this pandemic, when many people are in need. Thank you, audience, for listening.
To be best equipped for any transpiring turmoil, we should always practice the skill of resolute dwelling in the present and give others care and support. In fact, such a benign attitude will attract good energy from the universe to protect us and clear a wide path for us on the challenging journeys, which no individual can fully anticipate. Here, we invite you to listen to the excerpt, What Brings Meaning to Life, taken from the book There Is Nothing to Fear by Master Minh Niem through the voice of Michael Dow.
Nowadays, many young people encounter a serious psychological problem. After having a stable career or an ideal partner, they no longer feel happy. They used to be passionate about these ventures, spending a lot of time and energy, making many sacrifices to procure them. However, they suddenly feel that it has all become so stale and empty that they no longer have the inspiration to pursue any more goals. When there is nothing to be happy about, or there are still a few things missing to really be happy, there would be things for them to strive for. However, in this scenario, they have plenty of happiness in their hands, and yet they cannot tell what happiness is. So then what is there to hope for? They do not know what they are living for and what they are striving for. They are still too young to stop. I also met many young people from different countries. Most of them were from the US or Europe. They came to volunteer on farms in the countryside of America. They said that they were searching for the meaning of life. They were doctors, lawyers, engineers, etc., with an income level that any young graduate would yearn for. However, happiness to them at that time was simply being able to wake up early, enjoying a cup of tea and the birds singing without any worries, being able to gently walk on their bare feet across the fields without having to rush, being able to labor, although it could be very physically demanding, such as constructing houses with no machinery, and not having to use so much brain power for thinking, being able to pour their heart out to anyone around without having to act or project themselves, being able to contribute to providing comfort and safety to those in destitution, and enjoying everything together without hoarding it for their own benefit. Some people only volunteered for a few weeks, but some went for several months and even a whole year. The longer they traveled, the more they could broaden their horizons and acquire valuable lessons. They eventually found the answer for themselves, and that was to have a more meaningful life. We must live slowly and profoundly, so that we could experience everything and then share what we have within our capacity with everyone and enjoy it all together. I don't know whether they managed to maintain such awareness once they return to their lives, which are full of temptations and traps. However, one thing I'm sure of is they must have in some way changed their lifestyle and attitude. If they ever develop the previous psychological syndrome again, they should know what to do to rejuvenate their spirit and not fall victim to depression or live in dreariness. When we fail at work, or when someone we love betrays us, it is easy for us to fall into the quagmire of suffering and despair. However, the question is, when we have not experienced failures or abandonment, are we really happy? Many times we felt so bored, not wanting to go to work, and asked ourselves, why do I have to keep working in this job? Or, why do I have to be stuck in this rut of making more money all the time? How many times did we not want to go home because we would have to face the person whom we were once head over heels for? How many times were we trapped in feelings of horrible loneliness and lost while sitting right next to someone we used to love so much? Did we not want to get out of the agonizing relationship that we had spent many years establishing? Why are we so conflicted? It is quite understandable, because we are afraid of becoming a failure. We would rather cut it off or let go than become someone who is in passivity, rejected, or unworthy. Therefore, happiness does not depend much on other objects or situations, because we will not be happy whether we can get hold of them or not. The deciding factor for happiness is within us, within our soul. If our soul is peaceful and open, then no matter where we are, what we do, whom we live with, we will always feel happy. Just look at the dazzling smile on the face of the farmer covered in mud, tending to each row of vegetable and every furrow of beans. Or look at the joyful eyes of those who are dedicated to serving others, such as looking after the sick or healing those with psychological wounds. We will see that happiness is real and very simple. It can immediately arise when we have a peaceful and loving mind. That is the key to a happy life that very few people can get hold of. We might wonder whether those who live so frugally with little pleasure would suffer. Or do those who dedicate most of their time and effort to serving at times feel tired, weary, or unhappy? They certainly do, because they are also human. They are also full of joy, anger, love, and hatred. So there are undoubtedly moments when the shadow of affliction overcasts their soul, especially when adversity and turbulence are happening. However, compared to those who have too much to notice what kind of comforts are in their possession, or compared to those who only know how to tend to their own needs or those close to them, these individuals are so much happier. Professor Rick Hansen is a neurologist, a senior fellow of the advisory board of the UC Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center, and the author of several books on the connection between the brain and human happiness. He once said that we all want to have good things in life, such as happiness, love, confidence, resilience. The question is how we cultivate these good qualities in our brain. We need to have positive experiences of these qualities if we want to nurture them, effectively have them absorbed into the brain and become neural structures. So try to spend at least 10, 20, or 30 seconds a day to allow positive experiences to transform into neural structures. Gradually, we will have within us a source of inner strength. In addition, Rick Hansen also identifies 3 levels of happiness that anyone can achieve. The first is contentment. The second, inner peace. And finally, sharing with others. He did not think that pursuing appealing goals, or the satisfaction we get when those goals have been achieved, was true happiness. Before placing complete faith in this, let's experiment first. Let's try out the new lifestyle for at least a few weeks. Keep our mind dwelling in the present to cherish every condition of happiness that we already have, and always open our heart to give anything we can away to help others to be peaceful and happy. remember that it has to be positive experience and not positive thinking. Because Rick Hansen also commented that positive thinking only tires the brain and cannot be absorbed into the brain. Just try it out right now. Let's stand up, step outside, and take a few deep breaths of fresh air. To notice that our lungs are still healthy and not infected by any diseases. Or go and help our loved ones with something they need. And we will see our psychology change remarkably. It will be so much better than sitting for hours trying to subdue dissatisfactions or seeking more enticing opportunities for personal gains or worrying about what the future will be like in the post-pandemic period. Therefore, to be best equipped for any transpiring turmoil, we should always practice the skill of resolute dwelling in the present and give others care and support. In fact, such a benign attitude will attract good energy from the universe to protect us and clear a wide path for us on the challenging journeys which no individual can fully anticipate. And so, no matter what happens, no matter what we might lose, we should definitely never let our mind of peace and love be lost.
Up next, we would like to listen to a paragraph from the article I Am No Hero, I'm Not Ready to Die by KP Mendoza, a young nurse who graduated and has just been working for 2 years in the intensive care unit of a hospital in New York. We would invite you to listen to this heartfelt sharing through the voice of Bernard Richard Adams.
Yesterday, I considered writing a will. I am 24 years old. I am an ICU nurse in New York City. I am in good health at this time, so I should have no reason to even think about writing a will. But yesterday, I resigned myself to the fact that my likelihood of dying is statistically more plausible than I had previously imagined. When I graduated from my nursing program in 2018, I never thought this would be my future with barely 2 years in the field. I thought I was prepared to see death. I had seen enough of it within my first year in the ICU. Yet, in the last 2 weeks, I have seen more people die than most people see in their entire lives. Now I am not so sure if death is something I am prepared to see anymore. Death is different now. Death could pick me. Last week, a daughter called asking about her mother. She thought her mother's condition was stable. I realised no one had updated her. Things are vastly different now that family is not allowed in the hospital. So I reluctantly but gently told her that if I stopped the IV pump right now, her mother would die. I had to be blunt. Why lie or sugarcoat what is happening? Uncontrollably and unexpectedly, she began to weep. I have auscultated the sounds of a dying heart, but never before have I heard a dying heart through the phone. And I stood there awkwardly clutching everything I needed before entering the room, hoping I didn't forget anything while she was sobbing on the phone. Medications, tubes, vials, needles, syringes. My mind races through what I need to do while also attempting to listen to what she might have to say. Every time you go into a COVID patient's room, you expose yourself. So I tell myself, anything you forget that forces you to come back into the room is something that might kill you. I struggle to focus on being human as I stand there in the middle of the hallway, unsure of what to say back. My mask half on and a trickle of sweat forming under the multiple layers of PPE. How do you apologise for not being enough? I have been told I am on the front line, but the truth is, I am the final recourse. I am one of the few who are the last people you want to see, because after us is death. Outside of the pandemic, the ratio in the ICU is 2 patients to 1 nurse, maximum. Now, the expectation is 3 patients to 1 nurse. In other ICUs and in other hospitals, particularly those in outer boroughs, that ratio is even higher. I am privileged to have just 3 patients some days. Those days break me. ICU nurses are trained to be precise. We medicate, we titrate, we sedate, we paralyse, and we help intubate. We wash your body, clothe you, feed you, and make you comfortable. We enter that room more than anyone else. People have lauded me as a hero, a superhero to some, an angel even, that I am brave and courageous, that my patients are lucky to have me. Most days I feel far from that. Now more than ever, I feel weak and inept. I am lucky if I even have time to put ointment on your chapped lips as you lay comatose, moments before I FaceTime your family and they see you for the first time since leaving for the hospital. Breathing tube now in your mouth, feeding tube plunging into your nose, a slight drool, and maybe some blood here and there that I just can't seem to stifle. And who am I to steal that sacred moment away from you and your family? Who am I to be privy to the sanctity of that final reunion? It feels like a sin. I am ashamed. But I stand there nonetheless, stricken with shame and bereft of energy, because I am the only link you have to your family in this moment. Sometimes I get so busy that patients lie in their own stool longer than I would like to admit. How do you find time to clean your patient when your other patient's heart rate just reached 0 next door? Even when I leave the hospital, I can't escape this plague. The coronavirus follows me home literally and metaphorically. It's on the soles of my shoes, on my clothes as I strip bare at the door, and on my hands as I scrub them red and raw to rid myself of the feelings of filth and decay. It's in the sirens I hear outside, wondering if that's the next victim of this virus, in the ping of a text from a co-worker who is informing me that our colleague's father just died from COVID-19, and it's in the ventilator alarms that go off in my mind, even when my apartment is desolately silent. On my off days, I spend hours reading articles, new studies released about side effects of this repurposed medication, benefits of this new trial. The plethora of information is interminable and overwhelming. Yet every day I walk into work feeling like I still don't know enough about this disease. And every day I leave work feeling like I failed, like I could have done so much more. It never feels like enough. I don't feel like I am nearly enough. That is why I tell people to not call me a hero. To me, it feels like a lie. I am a disgrace. I wear guilt like a body wears a shroud. I run around for 12 hours a day, sometimes more if it was particularly busy that shift. Nowadays, I consider myself lucky if I have time to eat, blessed if I have time to pee more than once a shift. I conflate my blessings with my luck. I don't know what to be thankful for anymore. The fact that I was able to eat a full meal unhurried, or the fact that it isn't me on that ICU bed right now. I want people to know that this is beyond difficult. This isn't the world of healthcare I expected to enter. None of us did. I studied to save lives. I signed up to care for the sick and dying. And yes, I acknowledge that this is all at the risk of my own health. But do not misconstrue my choice of profession for a diminished sense of self-worth. I did not sign up to die. I am still so young. I have dreams, and I hope to have a full life ahead of me. I want to go home to my mum and dad and their home-cooked meals. I want to see my 4-year-old nephew grow up. I want to get married to someone with whom I can grow and love. I want to have kids. So I ask that you do not pity me, that you do not call me a hero. I do not wish to be made into a martyr. All I ask is that, after all this is over, that you never forget what it was like to be trapped in your home under quarantine. I ask you to never forget the morgue ice trucks, the absurd lack of toilet paper, and the frantic scramble for masks. I want you to remember the fear that gripped your body when someone coughed beside you, or when you got that phone call from your loved ones saying they had spiked a fever. Clap for me and other healthcare workers at 7 o'clock if it makes this pandemic feel more bearable. I concede. Your cheers help us trudge on. Just know that cheers and hollering don't change the outcome. This is my fervent plea, that we change what we can after all this is over. This should never happen again.
I only wanted to have fun, learning to fly, learning to run. I let my heart decide the way when I was young. And deep down I must have always known that this would be inevitable. To earn my stripes I have to pay and bare my soul. Yeah, I know I'm not the only one who regrets the things they've done. Sometimes I just feel like it's only me who can stand the reflection that they see. I wish I could live a little more, look up to the sky, not just the floor. I feel like my life is flashing by, and all I can do is watch and cry. I miss the air, I miss my friends, I miss my mother, I miss it when life was a party to be thrown. But that was a million years ago, a million years ago. When I walk around all of the streets where I grew up and found my feet, but they don't look me in the eye, it's like they're scared of me. I try to think the things to say, like a joke or memory, but they don't recognize me now in the light of day. Yeah, I know I'm not the only one who regrets the things they've done. Sometimes I just feel like it's only me who can stand the reflection that they see. I wish I could live a little more, look up to the sky, not just the floor. I feel like my life is flashing by, and all I can do is watch and cry. I miss the air, I miss my friends, I miss my mother, miss it when life was a party to be from. But that was a million years ago, a million years ago.
Love and kindness manifested through commitment, sacrifice, support, sharing, and no attachment to desire or possession is truly beautiful and noble. That is the true love that everyone needs in life. But in order to have this vast loving kindness, first, we must always live in a tough environment that awakens the good seeds within ourselves, rather than a comfortable one which gives rise to so much competition. Second, constantly return within to water ourselves with compassion, open our hearts with willingness to care for and share with others, regardless of the circumstances. All difficulties will pass, but what remains is human love. And our sacrifices and infinite dedication are the biggest factors that can contribute to subduing adversity. Let's make plans to do something beneficial for others, especially during this epidemic. Light up a scarlet fire, warm up winter skies. Amid the cold life, a kind heart will suffice. Radio episode number 7 is concluding here. Thank you for listening. Please share your comments about the content of the radio episodes on the YouTube channel Minh Niem and the Facebook pages Minh Niem and Miền Tỉnh Thức Sài Gòn. Wishing the frontline medical workers and all of us peace and steadiness.